Hi, I'm Bob. In the last video, I introduced the indifference curve that represents the consumer's preference over two goods. We know that the indifference curves are downward sloping. In this video, we will look at the slope of the indifference curve. The slope at any point at an indifference curve equals the rate at which the consumer is willing to substitute one good for the other. This rate is called the marginal rate of substitution, MRS. It is the maximum amount of one good that a consumer will sacrifice to obtain one more unit of another good. In our example, the marginal rate of substitution measures how many ice cream cones the consumer is willing to give up to get one more bowl of noodles. For instance, if at point A, the consumer is willing to give up 3 ice cream cones for one more bowl of noodles, then the marginal rate of substitution is 3 ice cream cones per bowl of noodles. At point B, if the consumer is willing to sacrifice 1 ice cream cone to obtain one more bowl of noodles, then the marginal rate of substitution of ice cream for noodles at point B is 1 ice cream cone per bowl of noodles. The marginal rate of substitution measures the consumer's willingness to substitute between ice cream and noodles in our case. Usually, the indifference curve is not a straight line. The slope changes along the indifference curve, so the marginal rate of substitution is not the same at all points on the indifference curve. Consumers are more willing to trade away goods that they have in abundance, and less willing to trade away goods of which they have little. We can compare 2 points in our example. At point A, the consumer has a lot of ice cream cones and fewer noodles. At point B, she has fewer ice cream cones but many bowls of noodles. She would like to give up more ice cream cones for noodles at point A than at point B. Therefore, the marginal rate of substitution of ice cream for noodles is higher at point A than at point B. This property is called the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. The consumer is willing to give up less and less ice cream to get one more unit of noodles as she has less and less ice cream. The marginal rate of substitution of ice cream for noodles decreases as it moves along the indifference curve from A to B in the graph. The indifference curve is bowed towards the origin. The shape of an indifference curve reveals the consumer's willingness to trade one good for the other. It is usually bowed towards the origin because of the diminishing marginal rate of substitution. But there are 2 extreme cases where the indifference curves have special shapes. When the 2 goods are perfect substitutes, the indifference curve is a straight line. Perfect substitutes are the goods that a consumer is completely indifferent as to which to consume. It happens when the consumer cannot tell the difference in the functionality between the 2 goods. For me, Cokes, Fanta, and Pepsi's Mirinda are perfect substitutes. I am indifferent between having 1 additional can of Fanta and 1 additional can of Mirinda. The indifference curves for them are straight parallel lines with a slope of -1 everywhere along the curves. The marginal rate of substitution is 1 can of Mirinda per can of Fanta in this case. the marginal rate of substitution could be other constants for perfect substitutes if the consumer is always willing to substitute each other in other fixed ratios. The other extreme case is for the perfect complements. Perfect complements are two goods that the consumer always consumes both of them in fixed proportions. Suppose I always eat bread with peanut butter. Having only the bread or the peanut butter will not give me any satisfaction. The indifference curves are right angles. As shown in the graph, a bundle with one piece of bread and 2 spoons of peanut butter is just as good as a bundle with 1 piece of bread and 3 spoons of peanut butter. It is also just as good as a bundle with 2 pieces of bread and 2 spoons of peanut butter. So A, B, and C are on the same indifference curve. When the consumer is at point A, she is not willing to give up any of one good for more of the other because it will not give her any utility if it is consumed alone. The marginal rate of substitution is 0 for the right-angle indifference curves. Finally, let's review the properties of the indifference curves. First, higher indifference curves are preferred to lower ones. Second, indifference curves are downward sloping. Third, indifference curves do not cross. Fourth, indifference curves are usually bowed inverse. Thank you for watching this video and subscribing to my YouTube channel. See you next time.